Good morning. How you guys doing? This is Mike back with the thought of the day, February 20th, 2023. First, I want to give honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for waking me up today and giving me the strength and the wisdom to be able to bring you this message. I have a real interesting topic this morning, and try to be as transparent as possible. The subject is might be uncomfortable for especially the brothers out there who might not want to talk about this, but just more about my journey and the things that I went through. It also affects the women too, and it is, can you accept being loved? Can you accept being loved? And before you say he's crazy, what is he talking about? I just want you to hear me out and think about it, because I think a lot of us suffer and we push away people that really love us and care about us, especially in relationships, because we wasn't brought up in a way that showed us that early on, and then it becomes too uncomfortable when you're in a relationship, and we tend to either take advantage of the person or self-sabotage the situation. I know in my instance, I like to keep things on me. I went through that a lot in my life, and early on, I was on the other side of it. My first encounter with that kind of situation was I was in college, and I really liked this girl, and I took her out on a date. And I never forget, we went to the movies at Quaker Bridge Mall, and I took her held the door, went into the movies, paid for her movies, treated her like a real gentleman, and things of that nature. And then a couple of days later, I called her up, and she was like, I'm not interested in seeing you no more. And I was like, wow, it was good. And she was like, you was too nice. And I was kind of baffled, and I didn't really understand it. I was like, yo, what do you mean I was too nice or whatever? And I was baffled. And another time I encountered it later in my life was when I was going through I was going through the murder investigation of Jonell. I was in a real vulnerable place, and I flew out to Vegas to meet somebody for the first time, and they was from Arizona, and I had a real nice suite at the Venetian, and my cousin was out there, my cousin Haas. I took him out there with me or whatever, because it was my first time meeting this person, and showed the girl a real nice time and everything. And the next day or 2 days later, she was like, I don't deserve this. Nobody never treated me like this before, and this and that. And I was baffled. At that time, I was in a real vulnerable place. And when I looked at the two situations, of course, they was years and years and years apart. I pointed the finger at them, saying it was something that females go through. But once I did my steps, I realized it was something I went through too, because I was like that myself. When I look at my two relationships in college, and I look at my first wife, I definitely displayed those traits. Those women were caring, especially in the beginning, very affectionate and things of that nature. And it made me so uncomfortable in the beginning. I played the part because I thought that's what I was supposed to do because of the image. But the closer they got, the fear kicked in, and subconsciously, I self-sabotaged the situations. I began cheating, or I began ignoring them, and it wasn't really no reason to do that. I just did it because I was uncomfortable and I wasn't used to that type of affection. And I especially did that in my first marriage to Jonell, because I had never experienced somebody that was so joyful and affectionate and just wanted to be around me and this and that nature. And because the way I was raised wasn't like that. And so it was foreign to me. And it made me uncomfortable, and I didn't understand why I was like that. I remember going to my therapist, and the first thing I asked him was why I couldn't feel for her like she felt for me. And after doing the steps and working with him, I came to realize that I wasn't raised like that. And now, after doing my steps and getting baptized and finding the Most High, now I did the work to be able to accept being loved, and it feels so good to do the work on the trauma and do the work on being raised a certain way and understanding that none of that was your fault, and getting all of that mess out of you is freeing. And then you can accept being loved by somebody because all of that stuff is out of you. Am I perfect at it? No, I still got some work to do, but I'm way, 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 way better than what I was before. And I have a lot of girls that's my friends that we knew each other from years, and we be having those kind of conversations. And sometimes I still see that kind of trend. Like, I know one person I was communicating with when I used to have Facebook, maybe like 4 years ago, and she was like, there's no good men out here no more, this and this, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, let's rewind this and think about all the good men that was nice, that wanted to treat you nice, and you said it was corny. And it's a trend that tends to go on. It's like a line where you got somebody trying to get your affection, and you don't want to deal with them because you busy trying to gain somebody else's affection. And then the cycle keeps going on and on. It takes a special person and a special relationship to be able to accept and reciprocate being loved. And I think that's something that a lot of us has to come to grips with. I know I had to come to grips with that. And once I realized that I suffer from it too, instead of pointing the fingers at the women saying they ain't had no dad and this why they act the way that they act, I brought my toxic stuff to the situation too, because I can imagine when she was coming home and I was in the house and then I didn't want to be bothered, how that made her feel, like looking back at it now. And if I could, I would go back and change the situation. The only thing I could do now is try to be a better person with the person I'm with right now. So that's the question that we got to ask ourselves. Can we accept being loved? Or do we try to take the people for granted? Or we self-sabotage the situation because subconsciously some of us don't even think we deserve it. This is Brother Mike. I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. Speak to you later. Shalom.